fire chief. He almost swallowed his dentures when he heard about it. He says, first of all, nobody ever takes water from the fire station holding tank, period. Second, he says, we're not giving away water. We're not allowing a foreign for-profit company to take away our water. Because if you figure I believe it's a 16,000 gallon capacity tank. I did a little bit of math. It takes about 16 hours to refill it at normal at the average well recovery rate. So if he just siphoned out water and my house is on fire, the fire chief is going to tell me, sorry, come back in 16 hours. We got nothing. So the fire chief is not okay with it. My neighbor also, I have a call in right now to Tom Schindel. He's fixing a tire in the pasture somewhere, so he's supposed to call me back, his mom told me. He's, from what I understand, the board chairman of the Rural Fire Board. He says, we're not doing this. We're not selling water for commercial, fire suppression water for commercial, or giving it away or allowing anything to happen with it, because it's a designated water source for safety reasons. So he said, it's not happening. So he was asked, well, who did it? So we found out the Townsend fire chief, Ed Schindel, who happens to be his brother, okayed it. And Ed told my neighbor, yes, I'm selling it. So we're going into a lot of different issues here. First of all, why is the fire chief of Townsend selling our fire suppression water in Winston, when the Winston fire chief is not okay with it, when the fire board chairman is not okay with it? Who's he to sell our water? I was at, I'm sorry, Debbie, at your office, talk to somebody else, to see if he's selling, where's the money going, first of all. Because if there's money, if money has exchanged hands, it should go to stay in the local community. Okay? So, different issues, but the point is it needs to be stopped, period. Like I said, different issues that I'm touching on. I'm not that concerned with the money. It should be done. We shouldn't just say, well, don't do it again. No. He takes water on a daily basis. We have to, at my tax expense, our fire truck has to go get water somewhere, and what Darrell Baum told me, he says currently we can't go to the lake, I don't know for whatever reason, to take water, put it into the truck, put ours on our truck to refill the water, so the Canadians have it at their convenience at any time. They can siphon it off for their stuff. Here's another little tidbit. They need the water for cooling water for their drill rig, apparently, or lubrication or whatnot. They're not drilling. Okay, this has been going on for 3 weeks. They have a holding pond that they installed up in the mountains somewhere, which is supposed to be supplied by runoff from some little creek. Well, that creek is dry, or the runoff, whatever you want to call it. It's dry. There's no water coming. So they're trying to store water. If we consider evaporation in this heat plus seepage. Okay, for 3 weeks we're pumping water in there that just goes nowhere, is not available in case of a fire. I mean, the whole thing is just ridiculous. I don't even know where to, draw the line on this. So, I think I made very clear how angry we are. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
I just cleared. Ed isn't the Townsend fire chief. He's the rural fire chief.
Yes, okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was told he's a Townsend, okay.
Oh, okay, yeah. But
Okay.
and I don't know if you set up a deal where they could get that water, and if they're paying for it, and if they are, I'm sure that water, the money is going into the rural fire fund. But
That's a side issue that needs to be looked at.
Yeah.
But right now everybody is if we were in the middle of winter and we had 3 feet of snow, that would be an issue to see, hey, is the money going somewhere, or is it really going to a particular purpose that benefits the community? But right now we need the water where it is.
Oh, I
and not
agree.
be wasted and put in a holding pond where it seeps into the ground and evaporates in the air. And once we need it, and, Stan Holm with his nice truck that I donated twice to, he comes up and there's no water available, and people go like, oh, well, sucks to be you. Sorry, like, we got a couple of bucks in the pocket for the convenience of a foreign company. That it's
Hey, Mike,
Yeah.
you were on the rural fire board. Is this practice? Is there anything you can share with
There's
John?
never, I'd never heard it discussed at any meeting when I was on there. That was about 2 years ago.
That issue, you might want to bring that issue up with the Broadwater County Rural Fire District Board of Trustees. They
Okay.
meet on the third Wednesday of every month
okay.
over at the fire station,
Which fire station is
the Townsend Fire Station.
it? Okay,
Go through the alley entrance,
okay,
and they'll meet at 7 o'clock.
okay, thank you.
Ed will be there, and all the 5 members of the Board of Trustees will be there. And that's where you want to address that issue.
Sure.
Rural Fire District is responsible for that.
The only thing is,
7:30, don't they?
Oh, that's right, Mike, 7:30, excuse me, 7:30, third Wednesday.
got it. The issue though is, this is something that needs to be addressed immediately and not in, I will go, yeah, but this is something that that they're doing on a daily basis. So if we have a fire tomorrow, and I don't like to do the if and what happened, what if deal, but that's how fires work. And if I go there in 2 weeks and we have a fire tomorrow and they're siphoning every morning and every night, we're up the creek, so there's something that needs to be addressed.
I would contact Ed, and another thing is tell him that they have not removed those painting on that truck. Because
Right.
when they sell that truck, that stuff's supposed to be painted over or taken care of immediately.
Well, they were running it without the registration, so I stopped them the other day. He's called himself the mine superintendent or whatever, Mike Whitefish or Whiteling or whatever his name is. And he's just a mine bully. And I talked to him in front of my house on the road, and he got in my face and he says, "Don't ever stop me on the road again, or I'll show you what I can do." And I go, "Oh yeah, by all means do." So I did write a letter to the CEO, I guess, and he's in Winnipeg, Canada. Whole page letter, lined up everything, and he never responded. So I heard he was actually in Winston about a week after I wrote the letter to inspect the mine. He never bothered to call, email, stop by, anything. So it's kind of like, screw you people, we're doing what we want to do. And they blew through close to $3 million in 1 year and had to shut down because they ran out of funds. So now they found some more suckers to put money in. And so it's a ongoing fundraiser thing to line their pockets. And I don't think they will have any problems stiffing us on any expenses that they can get away with. That's why first thing in the morning, before the break of dawn, they get water, and then after business hours, after 6 o'clock, they get some more water. So yeah, it doesn't seem very official there. So I'm wondering if they ever pay if that. So I was hoping and appealing to you that you have some input and some connections to follow up and put a stop to it. I do appreciate the timing there for the fire district, but if we wait a couple weeks and something happens, then everybody says, well, we follow procedure, but your house is gone, so too bad.
You want something done now?
Yeah.
Mike, are they only meeting the third Wednesday? I thought they met the first and third,
No, just the
just the third.
third. Incidentally, the Rural Fire Chief, Ed Schindel,
Yes.
would like to meet with you out in the hall in about 5 minutes. He's on his way over from the fire station. It's 2 blocks away.
He's coming here?
He's coming here to talk to you right now, today.
Well,
Thanks, Mike.
about that.
Yep. So he'll be here in just a few minutes,
Excellent.
just a block and a half away.
Yeah,
How about I take a seat and wait for him, unless you have
Perfect.
anything else?
and if you guys wanna update us after, if there's anything you want us to follow up on, or,
Good.
feel free.
Will do.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks.
Okay, I guess back on the agenda, Mike,
Sure. Mine will be a lot better. Not so much turned on. Alright, so I guess I wrote down some things I've been doing for the last month and a half. Do you wanna hear some of them, or is that what I'm here for? Is that what you guys got need?
Basically, yeah, go for it.
Okay. Well, basically, well, you know, besides the normal repairs and small repairs we run into all the time, the HVACs, I'm constantly on them because our humidity keeps doing this. Makes our economizers turn on when they're not supposed to turn on in the middle of the afternoon sometimes. So I'm always up there checking them. It's a daily thing right now. Or the humidity, I don't think has been this low in forever. It fooling the systems and making them turn on and pumping hot air in the 4 o'clock in the afternoon sometimes. But we watch that and keep control of that. Besides just the normal checks every day we do, I help Capital Communications with the digital radios get their units all wired up and up and running. We found that there was a lightning strike during a lightning storm back in June 24th, I think. And they're working on it right now to inform us when the generator turns on up at the limestone, and send him a text, me a text, when that turns on, because if it runs more than 3 to 4 days, it runs the tank dry. And if we had that in the middle of winter, we could, not have digital radios. I don't think that'd be a very good thing. I also talked to Wynn about trying to get another tank set up there, just so that we had a secondary tank, because it's only one 500-gallon tank. Other than that, the radios, as far as I know, they're running good. Nobody really said anything. We helped them run cables and wire. And then I helped with the 911. We had some lightning strike problems too back then. I work with Gray Bar a lot. They call me on because they're out of Colorado, so everything's remote. So they have me do all the checks and stuff on 911, and we had to replace about 4 boards and hopefully that's been solved. We put some lightning suppression systems through the Connect group, not through Connect group, but through our telephone systems. I'm sorry. I finished the insurance claims. That took me a while, and we received all the payments for all that, and it didn't cause our rates to go up. The units are pretty much done except for one thing left, and that's fire off the heating systems. All the heat exchangers have oil on them when they're shipped, so we're gonna fill the courthouse full of smoke one day.
Oh, nice.
So I gotta either turn off the fire alarm, or we can use it as a fire alarm.
There you go.
And then we'll have to figure out what to do when to do it, because the people can't be in here. It's gonna fill this place up full of smoke, probably for a couple hours. So I'm trying to figure out when we can do that. So, because I know Clerk and Recorders has to stay open, or we can put a table out front.
Right, there you go.
We'll take a long lunch hour.
Long lunch hour. There you go. Well, we do it now. We got windows we can open up and put fans in and try to blow it all out. But that's about the only thing. We had to rebuild it because the units were bigger. We had to redo the scaffold, which needed to be redone anyways because it was pretty rickety up there. I had to make it so that Eric and myself can walk on the scaffolds at the same time. And they're solid. And then basically health department, over the health department dishwasher wasn't running hot enough, so I've been repairing them, and they have their normal things go out, like their hot water tank went out again. About every 2 years, the elements go out because they fill up full of gunk. I had installed the thing for the TV district, dug the hole, got the post set, working on they're shipping it out the end of next week, and I'm going to take it all up there when it comes in, and then I'll help Charlie probably the last week of September install it, because I think he does a lot of this stuff for free. So I was gonna go up there and give him a hand putting it all together. We patched the sheriff's roof. I talked to you, Mike, about it, I think, before, some of the cracks we've been seeing in the roof, in the rubber roof,
Yeah.
cause they put the thinnest mill roof that they could do when they built it. Well, we went through and we patched everything, got everything fixed on that. Hopefully we can keep that from being repaired for a good 5 to 6 years, if we keep an eye on it. What else? Yeah. We talked about the tank. And state inspector for the elevators, everything was good. That was just recently. We did the wall, built the wall, put the cinder block wall in over here in July, end of July. We got that completed, waiting for it to dry out and cure so that we can prime it and paint it. Just minor repairs and minor, we kind of keep up with them over next door. With the projects, I've been fell behind on my monthly inspections on their plumbing inspections. We've been kind of reactive instead of being proactive on on all their plumbing closets. So we'll get back to that here on locks and plumbing here in the next month or so, because we got a few other little things going on. The grinder's been working good. I inspected that at the end of June. All the teeth are really good. Everything's running really good on that. We've had a few inmates decide to get mad and throw some clothing down. So,
Did
oh yeah.
did a job okay on it.
It did. They threw so much down that they threw one. It was a towel and it had a bunch of knots in it, and it went down through the whole toilet. And it about halfway through, then the grinder said, "Okay, I've reversed 3 times." It shut off, and then all I had to do is open the inspection port and pull about half of it out, and then return on the grinder, and it's fed right through. So it does its job. It's just when it binds up a little bit and it has to reverse 3 times, it automatically shuts off. We had that happen twice in, I think, May and June, I think it was. Yeah. It was actually in July, because when we did the wall, they got mad. So they threw a bunch of things down there. Because we locked them up in the C-pod and they threw their little fit. In the dinner hall, the only thing I have left to repair over there is I have a floor some of the linoleum starting to come up on the floor. That's one thing I was kind of against on the floor in the control room. They had me do these floor in the control room. Have you seen that?
Yeah, where it's coming up.
Yeah. It's coming up pretty good. Now I'm not sure what to do about it, besides replace the whole floor with something else. It's good for a home, but it's not really good for the traffic that goes in through there. So, I don't know, we'll get everybody socks or something. Quit ruining the floor. I do have to repair the first floor toilet on the women's bathroom. I noticed that the bracket that I got help with being replaced, what was it, 5 years ago, is now, I'm starting to see a crack in the sheetrock. So I'm gonna have to pull out the sheetrock and reattach the bracket better. I think it didn't get put in there quite right. Fire systems, that's one big thing. Every 5 years our fire systems are supposed to be blown out by fire suppression. It was supposed to be done last year. They haven't done it. And I called them and it's about $5,000. And I think they're gonna end up scheduling that. It's by Montana State Code that we have to have that done every 5 years. So we're gonna have that expense hit us too this year. It's gonna have to come out of my CIP fund, most likely.
Okay.
We just have no choice on that. Also, I had a little thing with the fire suppression, the extinguishers. They raised their rates, and they don't accommodate from when we show up here. So I canceled their contract. They sent new contracts that were going to be so much that it's more beneficial for us to buy our own fire extinguishers. And then I think it's Action Fire Suppression will come every year to recertify them for half the price that fire suppression was. So you guys will see a bill come across for that, just so you know. But it'll be within a year, 2 years, it'll pay for itself. So I felt that was probably the best thing to do with that one. And then we have we need to recaulk the outside windows on the detention windows, cause they're all leaking. So we're gonna have to peel all the caulking off and start recaulking those. And then transfer station, well, I'll go up there and fix the fans when it cools off. There's just two things I can't handle. One is the rotting meat in the transfer station. I don't think I need an SCBA for that one. So, but I don't know if you guys have. I think there's a lot of other things too I've done in the last month and a half, but I don't know what else you guys want to know. You have any questions?
No, that's a good update there. I don't know, anybody else got any questions, comments?
Do we get a new finish on those front doors, the bottom of the front doors up here?
Good.
They need to get
I know.
sanded and get some kind of a sealer or something, put them on the glass, that wood around the glass needs to be caulked
Oh,
and nailed in.
The front
The entry
doors.
doors, yeah.
Okay, I haven't
Yeah.
seen that. I know Debbie's been cleaning them off because she's been using Murphy's oil soap to get all the gunk off of them.
Okay.
Maybe that's why I haven't seen it, because maybe it's starting to show.
Yeah, those bottoms are looking pretty ragged.
Okay, I'll look at that.
And then I'll try to get ahold of Rick Meyer and see when you can meet with him to go over and take a look at that ambulance building, see what we gotta do there to get that thing insulated.
Okay,
See what kind of money we're gonna have into that, if we can afford to do that.
okay. Yeah, and that's the other thing, I'm still working, I finally got all the stuff, the materials to pump in the air conditioning into the mechanical room next door. I was gonna in fact go work on that today or tomorrow, and get that all done. So we keep that room, that door closed and that cooled off, thinking about that. So, yeah, I'll look at that front door. If you guys see anything else, just let me know, cause sometimes I don't see everything.
One thing with your budget, you guys should know that Mike did still cut his budget for the general fund. So next year, when we ask all the departments to set aside 10%, Mike needs to be remembered as having cut at the beginning of the year. So thank you for that.
No problem.
Appreciate the help and all your work.
Alright, now like I said, I mean, there's other ways to save. I mean, I know it's little stuff, but it does add up at the end of the year. I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, it's like I said, the computers, and we can decommission some lights. If, you know, 'cause I know a lot of people upstairs, they don't, you know, these are security lights. I can rewire them so that they're hooked up off of a switch. 'Cause, I mean, they don't really need to be on all the time.
Yeah, every little bit helps, in my opinion.
It does. You know, and, I mean, any offices wanna take out some of their lights, I mean, especially like this winter with space heaters maybe.
Right? That's an expensive one.
It is, I see a jump on, when I watch the thing, I mean, my bills, my energy bills, and I can see it. When people are using space heaters, I know exactly when they're doing it. And I can go up and I can pick out the offices that are running them. I mean, it's surprising how much those little space heaters eat up in energy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Just ban them.
Yeah. Well,
But the
we
thing
did.
is this commission has to be behind this.
Yeah,
You know, Mike can't be the one that goes in and says they're banned without the support of this commission, because everyone just gets mad at him.
oh, I do.
Yeah, and that's not right.
Yeah.
You know, we shouldn't be after each other like that, but this commission needs to start taking a firmer role on that.
Yeah, I think you guys did ban them once.
But there was no teeth behind it.
Yes,
Because
and-
we just didn't have the commission united in saving that money.
And then I went up there and started taking them from people, and I'll tell you, I had some pretty good arguments in the halls.
Yeah, and again, that's not right.
Yeah.
Like my grandma has those Eden Pure, they're like less than $1 a day or something. You know, I mean, is that something that if these offices are super cold? or so- I mean, something's obviously going on if people aren't needing heaters.
Well, they're kept at what temperature, Mike?
Oh, like Brooke's room, I have to keep her temperature in her room at 81 degrees.
We don't need space
But-
heaters
but
for
it's not
81.
81 in there.
Oh, it is 81 in the wintertime.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
so,
It's 81, I don't even have her cool come on till it gets about 78 degrees in there.
okay.
Corey complains about it, trust me.
Well, I was just thinking, you know, because some of those, I know you know, they're not efficient at all, but those ones are supposed to pay for themselves.
Yeah, some of the
Yeah.
new ones are really are, is what they say, your
Yeah.
claim anyway.
Yeah, there's a few people I've had to turn their heat up. I mean, I understand some of these, like on this side of the building, the winter it does get colder, especially when we have a long stretch. There's no insulation in these walls hardly at all, so it just starts to penetrate through brick and that finally comes in, then it holds. Well, I understand, I kinda pump it up a little bit, but it's cheaper for me to increase the temperature than it is for people to have space heaters.
Yeah, I know they're expensive.
It is, actually. It's surprising that you spend less money on propane than I do on
That's like,
electricity.
like tank heaters out on a farm, I mean,
Yeah.
those little buggers,
Oh, yeah.
so, well,
Yeah, if you guys have any suggestions, it'd be helpful.
Okay,
Well,
well, thanks, Mike.
no problem.
Thank you.
Any comments, or Mike, did you have something?
Yes, ambulance. This Friday, Cyrus Brandt, remember Cyrus?
Yeah,
He's gonna go to Seattle for a pre-build meeting. They're gonna fly him out there and go through that. And he's concerned that since he's not a county employee, and the county's the ones that are buying the ambulance, he'd like to have authority to represent the county to make sure the ambulance is built according to the specs that we bid. And then you have a contract with the vendor to provide an ambulance to those specs. So, his name is Cyrus Brandt, B-R-A-N-D-T. He's actually a paramedic, and he works for Broadwater Health Center as a part-time employee like Mary. He also works for a company out of Helena called Montana Air Ambulances. I believe they're at the airport there. So,
Can we do an applicant's agent?
sure, that'd be great,
Okay,
absolutely.
so we have some of those already from you, from some of the various grants. We could just change the wording to fit this situation, if you guys are good with
Be
that.
a representative or something, you know, he's got authority,
Okay.
however you want to do
He's
that.
leaving Friday?
Friday, they're gonna, well,
Morning?
he's gonna fly out to Seattle.
Okay. So we should have that done then before Friday.
Yeah,
Okay, do you guys wanna have just a short meeting posted Thursday or Wednesday or Friday?
Let's do it Thursday, cause we can't get a notice out.
I don't know what time he's leaving, I just got an email from him here just minutes ago. I can get back with him and find out.
Yeah, if you would, cause if you could do it,
I'll
if he
step
was.
out and call him.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
I have an all-day Wednesday at the Youth Justice Council. I think we're done, generally we start at 10 to 3, 10 to 4.
Wednesday
So,
or Thursday?
That's Thursday. So I could meet early and then go to Helena, or,
Well, we
late
should, why don't we just
afternoon.
meet early Thursday,
Okay. 8 o'clock,
8.
okay. Franklin, can you revise the agenda and post for this? As the chair of said commission?
otherwise I'm not posting any.
I'll post it.
We might have the driver's license, is it the first and third Thursdays? I think this is the first Thursday coming up, so we'll have to find a place to meet.
Oh, because they're using this.
Yeah, but they don't start, maybe we could do it before they start.
Yeah, because
We're really fast,
it's usually
essentially.
9 o'clock, I think, when she starts, so,
Okay,
I mean, sounds like it's gonna take you 3 minutes probably.
right,
Yeah.
if
Well,
that
we
long.
already got, if we just get the letter drafted, that's what really all amounts to, right?
Yep, so can you
Giving him
draft
the
that,
authority
Franklin,
to-
as chairman?
To represent the county in this pre-bid, pre-build.
We're all good.
Oh,
We got
good,
it handled.
excellent,
Very good.
thanks, John.
Thank you.
missing?
Well, I don't know when it's the right time to talk to you guys about this, but Corey had talked to you guys about doing, we did the letters to the other counties asking for their assistance in the Barris trial. So we got that all done. Corey and Wynn have signed it, so it's just ready for your 3 signatures. If I could give you those, or if now's not the right time.
No, so I'd say it'd be fine so we can get that out.
Yeah, okay, so is it
And-
okay?
Val, we requested that Val be included.
Oh, Val included?
I thought she had to do some checking to see if that was
I never heard it
a
wasn't.
conflict or.
I mean, I guess we don't have a choice, but the more names, the better for the county.
And I think the only other, I mean, it's not necessarily a problem, it just prolongs it, is that Val had to leave
Yeah, she's gonna be on.
to help her son was activated in Texas. So she went down to help down there. So she's not gonna be here for a couple of weeks. So if we wanna wait for her, that's fine, but it'll be at least 2 weeks.
I don't think we can.
I think sooner the better we get this going. It's-
Okay. So we've done it for Anaconda, Deer Lodge County, Butte Silver Bow, Gallatin County, Jefferson County, Missoula County, Granite County, and Powell County.
And I will move that we sign these letters requesting assistance in the coming trial, as presented.
I'll second the motion.
Move to second to send these letters to these other counties, which we pretty much already agreed on it anyway, so, anyway, move to second and we go for a vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed.
And they're unchanged from having
Yeah.
been emailed out. Okay.
We just got all the names, and everything completed.
Straight through.
And I'll make copies for everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good then, yeah. Thanks, Brooke, for getting that, so we get this thing on
Yeah.
going.
All right, thank you very much. I'll get copies.
Yeah, thank you.
This is the cover sheet of our invitation for bid.
Thank you.
And it says there, if you look, issuing agency, it says procurement contract officer Mike Conkey, DES coordinator, or designate. What I'd like to do is designate Cyrus. I don't know if you need a formal motion or not to do that, I just need to inform the commission what I'd like to do and send him out there to do that.
So this could take care of it.
I think it would take care of
Yeah.
it,
Great,
as
yeah.
long as you know what I'm doing.
Sure.
Because he's not a county employee, but he's a Broadwater Health Center employee. So they'll be covering him under workers' comp and stuff like that,
Okay.
under that
Alright.
policy, as long as Kyle knows that. I'll send email to Kyle and copy it to you guys.
Okay.
Know that he's representing the county, but he'll go out as an employee of the hospital and then he'll be covered.
Mhm.
And this company that accepted the bid, they're covering his airfare, and he's leaving Friday morning. It's part of the bid. Nothing's free.
Right,
Yeah.
There's
yeah.
no such thing as free lunch. We pay for it somewhere.
Well, to make sure that we have all our bases covered, I do think we should have a motion. So I move that we designate Cyrus Brandt as the designee for negotiations for the pre-build bidding for the ambulance.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and second, have Cyrus Brandt do this ambulance, pre-built and everything. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed.
So we should probably have this filled out and signed so that we have a paper trail.
If I hear just minutes will probably be fine. This is just first page of
Okay.
our invitation for bid. It was a 90-page document, I just printed the front page on. Just, you've already approved the bid and the contract and everything. And I don't wanna go to Seattle, I don't know anything about it.
I think we should put his name on this.
Sure.
Instead
feel
of
better.
where your name is, I'll put,
Yeah, I'll type his name in
okay,
there. You bet, I didn't need that for me.
and then you have to have signature, is there no signature page
No,
on that? Okay.
nothing there,
Authorized bidder signatory.
that would be fine.
I think, I would like to see this done officially.
Okay,
So I will officially request that per the motion, that we have this paperwork filled out, attached to the bidding information. We can certainly attach a piece of the minutes when they're adopted next week, but that will be after Cyrus is already in Seattle. So waiting for that is just insufficient, in my opinion. So,
I'll second that request.
Move and second to, as the motion was stated, all in favor?
aye.
Motion
It
passed.
wasn't a motion, really. We just need to make sure we follow the motion that was already made. So we need to have that signed, Franklin, and filled out. You're the chair.
You're gonna get that, the other one made out, aren't you?
yeah,
And then you'll have a signature page on it then?
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You gonna have that done today or?
Yeah, I'll try to get it here shortly.
Oh, okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Any other comments or information, business?
There was the contract from Joni in our mail, and I wonder if we can go ahead and address that. I just printed off a copy for me, but there's an official copy in our mailbox.
Is that the one from the bank?
No, this is for the hygienist, for
Oh,
public
okay.
health.
Okay, I didn't see that.
I didn't either. I brought all the mail.
And do we have do we have terms of the lease as far as the square footage price or anything?
I don't know that there is a price yet. It says monthly installments yet to be defined. I guess we could table this, put it on the agenda and table it and then vote on it next week, if you guys want. There's a copy in our mail, so I'll let you make a copy for Mike.
I never see it in there.
I'll show it to you in our mail, I'm sure it's in there. So we'll just put it on the agenda, is that what you guys wanna do? Get a square foot price from,
And I did have a call from Matt West about us leasing her space and why we do it, because it's required by the law. Part of that program is that she's under the supervision of the Board of Health.
correct.
Is the Board of Health or just the County Health Department?
No, it's the county health department, which is also under the Board of Health.
Yeah,
But what we were told is that she and Matt had an agreement on this, is that not the case with Matt?
evidently something's good, some wires got crossed there or something.
Okay.
But the thing, and I went and talked to Teresa about it last week, because Matt called me, and I went and talked to Teresa, she says the reason that is because she had, those records have to be in a county facility that's available to whoever's running the program, if they wanna look at their records, they just go in there and look at her records. So that's the reason why she has to have a place to put a shingle at, so she has a permanent address for those records, because she's still gonna be mobile. And I'll get that paperwork to Matt.
Okay.
She just gave me a copy of that paperwork.
Okay,
So, and then I talked to, Lori Mose told me that the square footage of rent that they were getting from the Forest Service was $16 a square foot.
okay,
But the thing is, you have to take into consideration that that's a building that's occupied full-time and she's not gonna be there full-time.
right,
So I think there
Yeah.
still has to be some, there has to be some give and take there on how much time she's actually gonna use that facility.
right. But if we're dedicating space to her, there should be some kind of a per foot
Yeah,
market rate.
that we can acquire, and I've asked that also to apply to something to the ambulance building, and there doesn't seem to be a commercial square footage price available for towns.
Yeah.
So I don't know what we do to come up with that.
I would suggest that we take maybe some other, like you said, the USDA, the Forest Service, other governmental offices. We also have Department of Revenue upstairs. That could be
Yeah.
another one. Maybe take as many as we can find that are government entities, take an average and go with that,
Yeah, and then we could also use that to apply to Doc Campbell's building, right?
right? Okay,
Okay.
Okay, so this would be the
I'll
contractor.
follow up with Teresa and see what date she's looking at. If she's okay with waiting till the 26th, we can put this on the agenda then.
Okay.
And by then, we should have maybe that square footage charge. For her being in there for such a short time, we could go to a low end. For somebody who's in, constantly, we could go to the higher end or an average end.
Yeah.
Okay. That'll help the bottom line for general fund too, which is a plus. So we talked a couple weeks ago about drafting a letter to Department of Transportation regarding the 4 lanes from the Broadwater County line north of Townsend to Townsend. So here's the letter, if you guys are good with that. We'll send that along with Thompson's letter and send it straight to Roger Ebert.
I'm good with that. Need to do the same thing with the county fair on Friday nights and Sunday afternoons.
You're not wrong.
I went out there yesterday, there was a tractor going down the road, had like 25 vehicles behind it, and most of them were fifth wheel campers with a boat tied behind them trying to pass this tractor. I went on Cottonwood.
Yeah, those tractors just don't do 70, do they?
No, they won't, especially
No.
when they're pulling equipment.
Right? But those roads are for them too, and that's one of the things we have to remember.
I'll make a motion to adopt this letter and forward it on to the Montana Department of Transportation along with Dwight Thompson's letter.
Move
A
and
second.
Move and second to adopt this letter to Department of Transportation. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Okay, I'm just gonna put you here, the sheriff office, and Debbie and commissioners, I guess, on, what do we wanna call this, budget review, I guess.
I'm gonna go get my law book right now so we can have a discussion on that.
When is that? This is a fall conference coming up?
Yeah,
When is
fall,
that?
yeah,
When is that?
the 18th. So it's another week, it starts actually the 17th through the 20th. Yeah, 17th, that's a Sunday when they kinda get started, and it goes through.
Starts on Monday, the 18th?
Yeah, Monday's when these things really start, yeah.
goes until Wednesday,
Thursday, actually,
Thursday
Yeah.
morning, right?
yeah. Thursday's pretty much the end of stuff usually. Well, in Helm, I always drive back and forth. I think I'm gonna stay there.
I'm gonna drive, I'll drive back and forth.
Uh-huh. Okay, I guess we're gonna find out how to word this on the agenda or something here.
Yep.
Okay, what is it?
There's also in our mail, something on the silos, on their water testing. Did you see that? Did you bring it down? All right, we'll need to find that too, cause that needs to be a part of the public record.
Well, that's just standard, it comes.
It's not standard. It is a good
It's just a
test, but,
test,
and
but
that's,
you
needs
send
to
in
be
a
a matter
report on
of the
water
public
samples for the silos there.
record. So we don't withhold any mail from the public. So what we have, Mike, and what I have here is, I've given you this book, loaned it to you because I really like this book. This was written by Ken Weaver, who used to be the director of MACO years ago. He's good friends with Elaine. Paul LaChapelle is one of the heads of the local government center at MSU. So this is a great book on basically county budgeting. So that's one reference that I'm more than happy to share with anybody. We also have this, which is a PowerPoint, and we got this spring. This was the one from Department of Administration that we went to in Great Falls together. This is from Harold Blatty. He came to Broadwater County 2 years ago and did a budgeting 101. This was to help, specifically Corey thought that, and I don't know if this is what he thought, but the actions were such that he would come to meetings, and this is a matter of public record, and say things like, I've told you what I need, now you need to give it to me, budgeting wise. We worked with Harold and he said, no, the budget is the commissioner's job. People tell you what they want. The preliminary budget is a wish list, and it's up to the commissioners to fund what they can with the money that they have. So this is the other resource that we have. We also got another one of those that was updated at the meeting. Oops. I brought you the minute book for the Hard Rock counties. Oops. We have another book. You know what, I'm gonna go get it because I want you guys to just see it. This isn't something we do off the hip, off the tip of our nose. And this is the resource from our most recent training at MACO. This was the budget process. And then we also had the legislative history. And then we also had the payment in lieu of taxes. But this also had at the back the PowerPoint that we'll be having from Mike McGinley here shortly, and that's back here as well. So that's not all our resources. We also have the Local Government Budget Act, which is 764,000. Basically what this does, and I don't know if you've taken the time to read this, Mike, but what this does is it sets the timeframes that we follow with the budget, it sets our requirements with the budget, and it sets the structure for the amendments, for adopting the preliminary budget, for adopting the final budget. This is what we follow. This is dictated to the county commissioners. What you have is, you have a sheriff who's responsible for the sheriff's department, detention center, coroner, all that. He's responsible for he or she is responsible for a very large budget. He's not responsible for the entire county. He can't be. It'd be an impossible task. Your other elected officials are the clerk and recorder, treasurer. He's responsible for the legal mandates he has, for his staff to get it done, for collecting the money, for the bills. He can't be balancing the budget for the whole county because he has already a full plate. The justice of the peace, same thing. He's got his own law books, his own code he follows. He's responsible for his budget. The clerk of district court, same thing. They follow the state laws regarding district court. They're responsible for their budget, but they don't have the ability to be balancing the entire county's budget. The county attorney, same thing. He's responsible for his budget. He doesn't have the wherewithal to be able to balance for the whole county because he's got his bailiwick he's in charge of. So when Montana was made a state, county commissioners were put in place, a body of 3 or 5, most are 3, that is responsible for taking all the desires, all the requests of all the elected officials and the department heads and balancing the county as a whole. So department heads come forward and they say, this is what I need in order to run my department. We look at all those needs and we give as much money as we can based on how much we have. The big bill, which I think was in 2001, set the mills that a county can have. Those mill values change from year to year, and the number of mills for counties changes also from year to year. Last year we had a lot of new growth, so we grew by 8 point something percent. But we also increased by mills of 2.26, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if my numbers are off. But it's 2 point something. This year, our growth was mostly in the value of existing property. So our property values went up by 9%, but we lost 5.11 mills. That's because of MCA that says that counties can only grow by a certain percentage unless their growth is new growth. So to offset the increase in property value, Department of Revenue cut the number of mills that we have. That's why it's disingenuous to say that you only fund a department on mills and that mills will always go up. They simply won't, they simply don't. That's all in this. This year we tried to, and this was Debbie's idea, I give credit totally to Debbie. She suggested we start months early with the budget, that we meet independently with every single department, talk about what they saw as threats coming this year, what they saw as opportunities, what they wanted in their budgeting. And it worked very well. Everything was smooth until Department of Revenue, the first Monday of August, took away 5.11 mills. Then we also have some big expenses coming up and we started scrambling. How do we balance the budget with this? Everything was smooth, everything was done, and we had a little bit of a train wreck. Instead of working together as a county, we had a lot of divide and conquer. We had a lot of fits, and we're in a mess as a county right now. We're looking at a worse mess, and we don't have a unit working together as a team. We have a lot of division, a lot of misinformation. So as far as the structure, we don't have to get anybody's permission. We try to work with them as best we can. And again, credit to Debbie for helping us to start early. But at the 11th hour, Sometimes you have to make quick decisions just to get the budget done, and that's what we ran into this year. You have any questions on any of that?
Is there any way we ever get these 5 mills back?
The only way we will ever get an increase in mills is if we have an increase in new growth. That's why it is so important that economic development be working for Broadwater County. That's why the legislature, after 2001, gave counties an extra mill just for economic development. Then they said in a subsequent session, well, you can have 2 mills for economic development. Then a couple years ago in another session, they said, you know what, we're not gonna cap how many mills you can put to economic development because it's that important. Only way we'll get those mills back is if we have new growth, new buildings, new farm equipment, new lines for the railroad, a new grinder at RY Timber, a new smelter, or a new ceramic burner at Graymont. Those are the things that will help our, not only our property values increase, but also the number of mills. And the reason that the legislature capped that and cut our 5 mills this year is because they're trying to protect the property taxpayers in a given county from getting gouged when just their property values increase. You can see where that would hurt your basic family.
So if we have new growth that restores these 5, if next year we don't have any more growth, do they take those 5 back away?
If we have an increase in value next year, but not in new growth, could we lose more mills? Is that your question?
No, I mean, if we have new growth
Mm-hmm.
and they restore these mills,
Yes,
then the next year you don't have any growth, are they gonna pull those mills back away then?
they could. They could. The thing is you can never go down in value for your county. So say you need $100,000 to run your county, and that's what's been established, that's what's been agreed upon with the big bill. So even if, and this has happened in a lot of your eastern Montana counties, say you had a mass exodus, everybody left. You will still be guaranteed $100,000 in property taxes to run your county. Your property taxpayers are paying substantially more per person because there's fewer of them. But the county is guaranteed that $100,000. So if next year we have new growth, substantive new growth, and we grow in property value, we could grow in number of mills as well. If the next year we're stagnant, if we don't have an increase in property values, we probably would not lose mills because we have to sustain that amount we need to run the county. And we get, is it 1% growth by law or is it half? Do you remember?
This year it was half,
Half.
0.6.
So, we get a
0.59.
small
Yeah. It varies
increase.
from year to year.
Okay,
1 year when we first started doing this, it was 3%. This year's 0.59.
yeah, so it's not much. But that's what you're guaranteed is your 100,000 plus 0.59% inflationary growth last year. Now that valuation, again, 9% increase in value, we still were working with a 3.9% increase in value for the county. That was a good thing. That helped us.